coming to you remote from Orange County and Boston, Massachusetts. Hi, everybody. I'm Vince Ferragamo, former Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl quarterback. And back east, I have my former teammate, 20-year legend and Hall of Famer, Jackie Slater. Jackie, how's everything going back there in Boston?
Man, I tell you, it has been one whirlwind of a visit here the last few days. You know, you got 4 grandkids going back and forth to school and looking forward to seeing you when they get home. It has been a joy to see these guys and see how hard they're working in school too, man. It's been a fun trip. We're back here just in time to visit before the weather gets too harsh.
Well, and that's not, boy, you're not kidding about that, Jack, because it can get pretty brutal back in the winter back there. I'm sure Matthew and the kids are pretty used to it by now, but I'm telling you, Jackie, out here we're getting some great sunshine, great weather. It's been warm. You know, I'm doing this flag football at the school with my grandkids, and man, I'm telling you, man, it's a lot of work. Boy,
it's about time for you to harvest your grapes too, isn't it?
That's right. We're going Wednesday. We're going to try to harvest these grapes, and hopefully it'll be a good crop this year. You know, the Sangiovese are ripe. They're 24 bricks. Their pH is about 3.6, 3.5. So hopefully, you just never know. But we're hoping to have a good crop this year and produce some good wine.
Very good. I'm looking forward to tasting it.
And Jackie, you know, you love the cheese, so the wine and cheese is going to be great. You know, the Harmony Cheese is our sponsor, and they make some of the best cheeses in the world. And your favorites are what, that Albergelli and how about
Albergelli,
pepper cheddar, man?
Yeah, 6 pepper cheddar is really, really good. I love that on cheese toast. And you should try it, by the way. You don't always, and I keep telling you this, you don't always have to shred your cheese and put it on pasta to enjoy it. Trust me.
Well, you know, you gotta shred it once in a while, get it on that pasta, Jackie. But you know what? We've got Corey, our producer at the CRN Studios, hanging with us today, and so we're looking forward to. We want to remind our visitors to visit our website, onpointlive.net. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at on.point.live. You know, we've got so many giveaways that we're going to have coming up. Jackie, we got this great mini fridge. We're going to load it with some beverages, Jackie. So we want to encourage our people to email us. Email us at onpoint@crntalk.com, and we get some great vibes from you. We're going to pick one of our subscribers and one of our viewers. We're going to give away this great prize. So we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a lot about the first week in the NFL, Jackie. Some great games. So
great games.
Go away. Welcome back to our On Point Live. And Jackie, you know, we've got some great games to talk about this week. And, you know, Thursday night's football game was a special game. It was the Eagles and the Cowboys, an interdivisional rival. Jackie, and there was a debacle. There was some crazy stuff happening before the game even started.
Absolutely. And I'm sitting here, you know, looking forward to doing my podcast. And right as we were about to start, it comes on my phone that Jalen Carter, the talented, and I mean extremely talented defensive tackle, got fined $57,222 for spitting on Dak Prescott. that's an awful.
How much? 50,000?
$57,222 for spitting on an opponent. Now, you know, Vince, I got to be perfectly honest with you. I've seen people spit on one another, you know, over the years, and different, you know, guys, that's just the way some people react. And it's a nasty thing. It's a very, very insulting thing to do that. But the thing that I have noticed is that the repercussions for doing that to somebody have always been very severe. In particular, if it happened on the football field, usually a guy was physically assaulted by everyone in the area who saw him do it. And certainly if it's caught on camera like this was, you let the guys get these huge fines levied. That's $57,222 for spitting on an opponent.
Well, it was a vulgar reaction, I think, Jackie, but it's always the retaliator in football that gets caught. So the instigator, it goes by scot-free. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. You're implying that Dak Prescott spit on him. Dak Prescott did not spit on him.
He didn't spit on him, but he challenged him. He was just like, he looking at him.
No. Dak Prescott actually spit
Yeah, he
But
did. He always spits. He
yeah,
always
but and the kid was nowhere. Carter was nowhere near him when he
no,
did
he
it.
wasn't near.
He
But
just interpreted it as he was spitting towards him.
well, that's what I'm saying. He's interpreting a reaction, and then he's retaliating with some gesture. And
Right.
or if you push me and I hit you back, the referee's not going to see the initial push. He's going to see the hit back.
The
So
retaliator. Yeah.
I mean, if I was me, if I'm a player, I'm just going to just point my finger at the guy. Hey, did you see what he did, ref? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
why don't they just
But then really, I did not think Dak Prescott spit towards him. It came towards him, but I thought he was just clearing his mouth. It
yeah,
didn't look like any more than that. It was interpreted totally different
it wasn't
by Jalen Carter, though.
I think you're right. But the Eagles just did so much. But Jackie, I was watching that game, and Dak Prescott threw some beautiful passes to CeeDee
Oh,
Lamb. I mean, they were they were beautiful passes at the end of the game. But it's the first game, so guys are a little rusty.
yeah. But Vince, wait a minute. I got to ask you.
Yeah,
A little rusty.
yeah.
If you're making $30-40 million a year to catch passes, and they're hitting you right in the hands, is that rust or lack of focus? I don't think I've ever seen a guy drop so many perfectly thrown passes. And if he catches two of them, they win the game. If he catches one of them, they maybe win the game.
Yeah, when you're talking about who was victorious in that game, the Eagles ended up winning. Jalen Hurts was just awesome. He's just a great, steady quarterback, very just instrumental in this team's success, does everything right. But Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, I thought, should have won that game. They really outplayed Philadelphia most of the
I
game.
felt like that.
And Philadelphia has some suspects in the secondary, Jackie. I'm telling you, someone's going to exploit them, and Sirianni's got to figure that out real quick, or it could be devastating for their team. But the Cowboys, nothing to be ashamed about. And I think CeeDee Lamb, even after the drop passes, admitted, hey, I got to make those catches. I know I can make those catches. It just didn't happen. And sometimes the great players come back from their mistakes. They really just they put it behind them, and they look forward. They work harder. They get their work ethic back. And I'm sure you're going to see some great things from him. And also Pickens had a good game too for the Cowboys. So
yeah, but in the meantime, 3 drop passes,
yeah.
and you start the season off 0-1.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit disappointing, I'm sure, to all of Jerry Jones's fans there in Dallas.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, Jackie. Well, what about the Colts, Jackie? That game has some crazy stats. They played Miami and wiped them out 33-8. And Daniel Jones. I mean,
how many teams?
Shane Steichen.
How many teams has Daniel Jones been on since he's been drafted? Is this his third team?
Yeah, he started with the Giants.
Then he went
to Minnesota.
This is the third.
Maybe he learned from Kevin O'Connell, Jackie, at Minnesota, and then he improved his game, and now he's with Shane Steichen, who's an offensive genius over there. I mean, they were spreading the ball all around, Jack, running it, throwing it, doing everything. They scored on every possession. And that's the first time in what? 15,
the first time
years?
It's been done. First time it's been done since 1977, your rookie year, that they scored on every single possession. And Daniel Jones leading it. It was I got to be honest with you. I was quite surprised that Daniel Jones played as well. How do you figure a guy who was a first round draft choice that goes to on his third different team is going to come out and lead this football team the way he did in the fashion that he did with the success that he had? Now, the other thing, Vince, and maybe we should factor this in, but I think the Miami Dolphins are just in a whirlwind of trouble. They got issues going on with their players.
McDaniels is having a difficult time relating to the players right now. Tyreek Hill, there's too much. They're fragmented in this team, Jackie. They're not together. And great teams play well together, and they enjoy playing with each other. I don't think that's happening.
I mean, and Tua Tagovailoa, you can speak to that a whole lot better than me. But here's a guy, he did enough to get paid, and then he promptly displayed that he was, very susceptible to these concussions, stumbling off the field and whatnot. And I don't know, Vince. You might have looked at the day that he had, but I don't know that he is 100% comfortable as he was prior to these concussions now, because you get one concussion and you slip. You get another one and you slip a little bit more, and then another one and you have an even deeper problem. And I'm telling you from experience. So here's a guy that we don't know I don't know what his state of mind is right now. Maybe you can tell us. That's a lot.
Nobody really knows, Jackie. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a competitor. He's very intelligent, but there goes a lot into it. And if you're susceptible to getting hit in the head, then maybe you're thinking a little bit twice sometimes, and maybe not. You're less risky on the field, and that could have a devastating effect. But Jackie, you talk about great players, great quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers now has resurfaced. Okay, he's in maybe his last year. I don't know, but man, were they good? I mean, he's got DK Metcalf, but guess who he's got? Kenny Gainwell. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. He was the second leading receiver, and his number one target is Kelvin Austin, this fifth-year guy. You never even heard of him.
Never even heard of him.
Great. 4 catches, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. I know Aaron Rodgers likes throwing to him, so we're going to see what happens. I mean, they won 34-32. He had 4 touchdown passes, Jackie. He came back to haunt the Jets.
Vince, the interesting thing you just said, and you said some time ago, you said just watch Rodgers. Yeah. This is the best place for him to be in Pittsburgh, and he's probably going to have more success. Now, you didn't say this, but you've said it before. Good quarterbacks recognize people who know how to get open.
Yeah.
They recognize people who know how to get open. And the reason why they recognize them is because when it really matters, they're throwing them the ball. It's simple as that. And here's a guy you don't even know. I never heard guys who've been on the roster I don't know how many years, and all you've heard about is all these other guys, and he's the one that's being targeted,
Jackie,
and making the play.
If he synchronizes with DK Metcalf, and he's already going to come down with Freiermuth, so they're going to have quite the team. And they run the football, and they're spreading it around. They're opening up their offense. Watch the Pittsburgh Steelers down the road. Anyway, Jackie, we want to remind our viewers, stay on point, onpointlive.net's our website. Jackie, Harmony Cheese, harmonycheese.com, the best cheeses around. I mean, go ahead and order it online. You can get it. Don't forget to email us.
They need to talk to Bree.
That's crntalk.com.
Absolutely. Right, Absolutely.
So don't forget, we'll have more to talk about the NFL, some great games. Don't forget that Ravens and Bills game. We'll talk about that coming up soon. Be right back. Well, back to On Point Live, Jackie. Now we get to the fun part, Jack. We get to talk about the local teams, the Rams and the Chargers. Let's start with the Los Angeles Rams and the Houston Texans. D'Amico Ryans brings his team in here. They're all fired up, ready to go, Jackie. And, as it turns out, Matt Stafford enters into only 10 guys in the NFL history to throw 60,000 yards in a career, and he's on track to beat Dan Marino and Matt Ryan. So they got the great quarterback, and the rest of the team is starting to filter in.
It really is, Vince. And Matthew Stafford had us all concerned here all summer long with his inability to practice because of that back problem that was all inflamed. But you just had to figure. He came out and he said, "Hey, don't worry about me. I'm not allowing myself to make any excuses for what I've been through this summer. And I think I know who I am as a passer. I know the players that are surrounding me. I've seen the work ethic that these guys have. I know what's going on, and I'm going to deliver." And I think he did just that. He's the type of quarterback that I think Sean McVay covets, who's smart, who can take control of situations. And let's be realistic. The Rams are playing really great football on the other side of the ball. Their defensive pass rush burst, and those guys are putting constant pressure on the quarterback. They're making quarterbacks move uncomfortable in and out of the pocket all over the place. And that really hurts, that their passing game. I was very impressed with what the Rams did. I'm impressed with the way their leadership, the new leaders on that team came in and played. And quite frankly, the team that they played was up for the challenge. This was no just bunch of guys showing up. This was a pretty good football team that the Rams got, pretty knocked them out.
Well, it really was, Jackie. I was at the game actually, and I witnessed it firsthand because the Rams started off a little sluggish. They were a little rusty, obviously, because a lot of their veterans didn't get a chance to play in preseason. But they came on pretty quick, and the second half was pretty stable for their offense. They were spreading it around, and Sean McVay is a very intelligent coach. He understands the nature of protecting the quarterback. And the way to do that is to get your running game going. There's offensive line, their play action pass. One of the best things you can do for an offense is to be effective running the football and then play action off the running game. And that very seldom do quarterbacks get sacked off play action. And there's a lot more extra time to throw the ball. And then Matt Stafford makes a living off doing that. And their misdirection plays. Puka Nicole was great in the beginning, Jackie. I mean, he took some hits and he kept on ticking, and he
Yeah,
just
he got his eye all busted up there.
it was.
I was surprised to see him stay in there and keep competing the way he did, and it was impressive. The other thing, that not to interrupt you, but the other thing while I'm thinking about it is Jackson. Larry Jackson, man, I was really concerned about him. I knew that he was going to be a critical piece in order for the Rams to be successful. And the doctors, you got to give the Rams medical staff, and you got to take your hat off to those guys because they did what it took. Even though he didn't practice a lot this summer and pads and everything, they did what it took to manage this guy so that he could show up on opening day and did one fantastic job. I was really proud of him and his efforts.
Do you think, Jackie, at some point they should have probably spelled him a little bit just because
I wondered about that. I wondered about that.
He played the entire game, Jackie.
Entire game.
I want to preserve this guy for the whole season.
I do too. And I was concerned about that. I was thinking about that as the game went along. And then I noticed that, when he came to the sideline, he was sweating profusely and he was being checked on, and all of his vitals were being monitored, it seemed, from the sideline, at least when I could see. And right. So I just thought they had a handle on everything that was going on with Lamar Jackson. And it was good to see that they were doing it that way, because I think there were a lot of people that were watching him, and worried about him, who understand the seriousness of, of blood clotting and all.
Well, we both felt that the Rams would play well in that game, Jack, which they did. They won the game. But I was most impressed with their defense, the way they got after their C.J. Stroud, a very fast, quick, young, the guys. I mean, they did have some guys running down the field fairly open at times. But you know what? The pass rush was getting after him, and he was limited in the amount of time he had back in the pocket. They only allowed 9 points, 3 field goals. And then the takeaway at the end of the game when the Texans were driving the ball down for the go-ahead score, 14-9, the Rams win, they get the fumble recovery. So, they played to the end, Jackie. And so, that's a mark of a good team. And that's what you want to see. You want to see your players step up, make the plays when they have to.
Absolutely. And all of the players did. And don't forget, they're still a very young team, and they got a lot of young guys that they're dependent on to play key roles, including Larry Jackson.
Now, Jackie, again, we were wrong with the Chargers and the Chiefs. Okay, what happened to our Chiefs? I mean, I give a lot of credit to Jim Harbaugh. I was a little critical on their coaches, their coordinators, but I do like Jim, and he's really established the offense and defensive lines. Okay, they put a lot of effort into rebuilding that phase of their game. And I think it showed because they got after Patrick Mahomes. And Justin Herbert was the quarterback we always knew he was, okay? He made the plays when he had to, Jack. He made that great quarterback run at the end of the game to seal the game, like 15, 20-yard run. It was beautiful. I mean, the guy's got talent. He's got talent from A to Z. So right. I mean, if they know how to use it and utilize it, get more play action pass going for that guy, the sky's the limit for this Chargers.
The sky's the limit. And Vince, let's not lose sight of the fact that Justin Herbert has thrown for more yards than any quarterback over this period of time in the history of the NFL. And then at the end of the game, he showed us that he's capable of taking off and making some plays with his legs as well. He's the one thing that I like about Harbaugh that I think has to be noted is that he and his offensive line coach, defensive line coaches, they have done a fantastic job of not only securing talent, but putting those people in the places where they can be successful. You know, they had the big first round pick a year ago, big Hawk. And after they lost the Slater kid at left tackle, who they had paid so handsomely after they lost him for the year, they took off and put him over there and put big Trey Pipkins at the right tackle. And I thought that was a beautiful move, getting those two critical spots sorted up with men who were talented enough to get the job done, and they were going to be coached well enough to make sure that they had success that the team needed to have. So I can't give enough credit to those guys for the job that they did as well.
Jackie, you know, what's interesting, we haven't talked about it, but Keenan Allen is back now with the Chargers, you know, and he had 7 catches, and, you know, there's a relationship with the quarterback there. So that really added fuel to their passing game. What about the Chiefs going after Tyreek Hill? I mean, the Miami Dolphins are going nowhere. Get him back. I mean, I think the guy would come back. I mean, he left because he wanted more money. But if he wants to come back, I think because Xavier Worthy was hurt on the first play. He ran into Jason Kelce.
So, it hasn't been a very peaceful ride for him since he's been in Miami. He had some issues. He's been disgruntled about the number of targets he was getting, the type of passes routes that they had him running. Whereas Andy Reid knew exactly what he wanted him to do. He wanted to get him in isolated situations and just have him run off and away from the corners that were covering him. And if they double covered him, that ball was always going to go underneath and behind him. I think Tyreek Hill is a little disgruntled down there in Miami now, and like you say, they're going nowhere. Yeah. I don't know if Tua Tagovailoa is taking a lot of shots or whatever, but I don't have any confidence in him having confidence in himself. Yeah. So the notion of bringing Tyreek Hill back to Kansas City is something that probably should be seriously entertained by the Chiefs and their organization, regardless of what you have to give up to bring him back.
And I don't know where Jason Kelce's mind was for this game, Jackie, but there was times where he ran right into Xavier Worthy.
He ran right into
and then at the end, he's got a chance to catch a touchdown. What's he slowing down for?
I have no idea, but
I don't know where his mindset is. They got to get him straightened out real quick. And
I looked at the route that he ran when he ran into the kid, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if he were looking at that, would he say that he ran the wrong route? He ran the wrong route because the space.
His mind is not where it's supposed to be, I don't think, right now, Jackie. You know, the mind's precious. You got to keep that first. Hey, how about the Broncos, Jackie? They beat the Titans. You know, Bo Nix again, Sean Payton. They beat Cam Ward and the Titans, the #1 draft pick. I mean, Jackie, their defense is the strongest defense in the NFL. I don't think they allowed but 150, maybe 120 yards total.
It was 133.
Thank you, Corey.
Sorry, Corey, resident Bronco fan.
Wow, can you imagine that defense? Come on.
That was absolutely an amazing defense.
They held the Titans offense to -8 yards in the second half.
Oh,
that's mind-blowing in the national.
No, wait a minute, Corey. Is that the Bengals and the Browns game? Because Joe Burrow was awesome in the first half. The second half, they had a total of 4 yards?
Yeah, the Bengals also had a negative quarter. I think they had -14 in like the fourth quarter as well. So, yeah.
What happened there? And they were able to pull that game out over the Browns, Jackie. Your man, Joe Flacco, they should have won that game.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you know what? It's there's so many games to talk about. We have a few more games to talk about, Jackie. But you know, this is On Point Live, and don't forget now, our viewers need to go and email us onpoint@crntalk.com to get a chance to get this mini fridge. I mean, we're gonna load this thing up with a bunch of beverages and you know, try the harmonycheese.com, one of our great sponsors here out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. We're going to talk about the Packers too, Jackie, coming up. There's so many ways, and we love to coordinate with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to On Point Live. Jackie Slater had to step aside for some family matters, but I do have our producer, Corey Moreno's with us, and we got to talk about some great games. That Sunday night game, Corey, was fantastic. I mean, it was the first time in NFL history that two teams scored 81 points, 40-41.
Yeah, they call that a scoregami.
What was it?
So it's the young kids. They call that a scoregami when there's a unique score. There's never been a game that's been scored 40 to 41.
I was wondering what that meant.
Yeah,
I didn't know. But man, yeah, I tell you what, and there was about 7, almost 8 minutes left in the game. The fans started to exit the stadium in Buffalo. They thought the Bills were out of it with the score 40-25. They were down 15 points. But you know what, Corey? The kicker for the Ravens missed the extra point.
Yep.
If it was 16 points, I could see where the fans might start leaving. 15, wait a minute, there's an outside chance. And sure enough, the Bills came back. And I have to tell you, and I've always said this, and Jackie and I have always agreed, the Ravens are one of the toughest offenses to defend because of Lamar Jackson. But I'm telling you, these two teams played at the top of their games. It didn't even look like it was the first game of the season. They were in tip-top shape, ready to roll. They played so well together. Lamar Jackson was spectacular throughout most of the game. My only comment to the Ravens is that you cannot lose your focus. They had a mental lapse in the fourth quarter, and they lost their concentration. Okay, and this loss of focus, and Chuck Knox used to say fine focus. You've got to have a fine focus, not a space focus. And I'm telling you, it made a difference. It made a difference. They started to deplete themselves, and the Bills took advantage. The Bills never felt like they were out of the game. And, this Josh Allen, he's remarkable of what he can do. He, for the first time I've ever seen him throw a touch pass to his back out of the backfield. He pulled a string, put a little touch on the ball. Usually it's just coming so hard, and that's something to look forward to. And I think if he can do that more, I think you're really going to even see even more points scored. It's hard to believe you can score more than 41 points, right?
Yeah. And what this one was a quintessential snowball effect with that play that the wide receiver on the option route, and he was running and he turned up field too early. Zay Flowers got that penalty.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
And then again, Corey, that's a lack of concentration. You can't move forward prior to a snap. You have to stay horizontal to the line of scrimmage. And before that, number 16, their wide receiver, jumped off sides. And that's a cardinal rule. You're looking at the ball. A wide receiver should never jump off sides, because you react after the snap of the ball. You don't have to know the snap count. So 2 plays in a row. Then they had the Derrick Henry weird fumble that never happens.
Yeah.
They fumbled the ball. That was another play.
And then there was another Josh Allen tip pass that went into Keon Coleman's hands in the back of the end zone.
That was a lucky play.
Right place, right time. Better be lucky than good, you always say.
Never given up, Corey. You never give up. And then how about the punt that would have backed the Bills up to the 1-yard line? And, talking to Jackie and talking to Matthew Slater, Matthew was a premier special teams player.
Oh, one of the best of all time.
Yeah. The best of all time. He almost had a fit when he saw the guy slide into the end zone.
Head first.
Just tap the ball.
Yeah.
Tap the ball down on inside the 5-yard line. And that game is a total different game, starting from your own 1-yard line or 2-yard line, rather opposed to the 30-yard line or 25-yard line.
Yeah.
I mean, it was play after play after play, and that's how the Ravens were defeated. I mean, they had the game put away. All they had to do was just don't lose their focus. Just keep concentrating.
Yeah, and then I think it's just that monkey that just got bigger on their back, because last year this is where they lost to the Bills in Buffalo with that dropped pass, those little focus, that dropped 2-point conversion by Mark Andrews. It's those little fine plays that either make a dynasty or break a dynasty. Because when you watch the Chiefs or the Patriots when Tom Brady was there, Tom Brady came back like Josh Allen did in the Super Bowl against Matt Ryan and that Falcons with just those little plays, those little things that you don't think are going to matter, but at the end of the game, they all add up, and then 16 points can get wiped off the board in 4 minutes.
It can evaporate real fast. And, it's one play kind of like snowballs into more bad plays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just, you can't, you have to be, this is a thinking man's game, really is. I mean, you have some great coaches out there. They say the game is more mental than it is physical. And it really is. I mean, if you have help as a secondary guy, there was an interference, a PI called against the Ravens as well. You had help behind you. Why do you have to foul a guy going out of bounds?
Yeah.
Just let him catch the ball, then make the tackle. I mean, there was a PI there, and then that gave Buffalo a first down. Stop the clock. You got to remember that penalties do stop the clock.
Yeah.
And you have to know, I mean, there are some teams that if there's no timeouts left, then you have to guard the sidelines. Yep. But if there's timeouts left at the end of a game, you don't need to guard the sidelines. They can throw the ball down the field and use their timeout to stop the clock. So it's a mental process that you have to have, and we see it so often. I mean, there's so many teams and players, and it's just the way it is.
And part of that mental process is credit to Josh Allen for being mentally strong in that fourth quarter, never giving up. In the fourth quarter, he had more passing yards, 251, than 21 other quarterbacks had all this week. In the fourth quarter. It was a crazy game, and unfortunately the Ravens the last 3 years have just been losing these tough. They lost to the Chiefs 3 years ago. They lost to the Bills last year. They lost to, at least this is the first game of the season. It's not putting you in a crazy hole. It doesn't help your season to start out like this, but it's not the end of the world, but it still doesn't feel good.
Well, John Harbaugh's lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
I mean, in this fashion. And I think if I was John Harbaugh, I would take my team and have a classroom segment. Instead of going on the field of play, we're going to go in the classroom and I have a lecturer lecture you, get in the books, and let's do a mental process here. Let's concentrate and let's study. Let's study in the books, because we're not going to go out and physically do anything. We're going to do a mental process. And I think that will help the team. They got to become smarter. They have to become smarter.
I agree. And just like the coaching, like you just said, if we can kind of switch into the Monday night game with the Vikings, one of your favorite coaches, Kevin O'Connell, puts on a masterclass coaching display in the second half.
Did he ever? And I'm really a big fan of Ben Johnson as well. I mean, he came from Detroit, and I think that's why Detroit is going to suffer this year. They don't have any continuity on offense right now, and they have some of the great players over there. They got beat this weekend, and that's going to happen throughout the season because they don't have the sophistication on offense. They have the players, they don't know how to utilize them.
Yeah,
that's what happened in Chicago. And my one complaint with Caleb Williams is that he always looks like he's rushed when he's doing stuff on the field. And as opposed to say, let's look at the other quarterback. Okay, J.J. McCarthy, he looked a little bit decent at times throwing from the pocket. And we can talk about the Packers game, but Jordan Love is probably one of the most comfortable quarterbacks, I think, out there. He looks comfortable. He looks poised. He's well liked by everybody. Now, Caleb Williams had a good first half, but everything is just too vibrant for him. It's just fast paced. You have to slow down and relax and just, tranquilo. I mean,
tranquilo it.
There's time to run fast, right, Corey? But then there's time to don't leave the play too soon. Read the defense, come up and throw the guy that's open down the field. And he missed a lot of guys down the field early on.
He overthrew
and I see this as a quarterback. So, I mean, they got to have a quarterback coach to help coach him.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of like on the opposite side, even keeled and cool, even after J.J. McCarthy needed to score coming out of halftime and he throws that pick six, he still wasn't defeated. He came on. They said, I read something, I forgot, I think it was Aaron Jones, the running back, said he came into the huddle the next drive and he says, dang, guys, there's no place I'd rather be. And he was ready for that moment.
Isn't that great? That's a great thing for young kids to learn from. Corey, is like, forget the past. Okay, look to the future. Okay, how do I get better? Learn from my mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I coach little kids in flag football, and I tell them all the time, I says, look, you have to learn from your mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Okay, the greatest players of all time have made mistakes. So you got to learn to come back from it. And J.J. McCarthy did great. He stood in the pocket. He believed in his receivers. Of course, he's got Justin Jefferson. Doesn't hurt to have one of the greatest receivers in football. Come up with some great catches, but he stood in there and he found them and he threw them open. And that's what it takes. Forget what that wasn't a bad pass. That was a great defensive play. He had help behind him, and that's what a corner should do. Is break. You can gamble if you have help behind you, and that's they read the play and they got the pick six, but it didn't stop Minnesota's team. It didn't stop Kevin O'Connell's play calling. He kept on. They kept running the football. They kept doing their system. They never let go of the system that they were their game plan, and they won the game.
And if the Vikings go like they did last year, I don't see how Kevin McConnell doesn't win Coach of the Year again, because he did it last year with Sam Darnold, and now basically you have a rookie because JJ missed his whole rookie year and this is his first time starting. And if they win 10, 11 games, they don't have to win 13 like they did last year, or 14. I can't remember which one they got. But if they make the playoffs in that hard division, I just don't see how you just don't keep giving him Coach of the Year for implementing the same system. And he's McVay might have passed the QB whisperer to Kevin O'Connell. Now he's the best QB coach of all time.
I think so. He's produced a lot of good quarterback coaches, and they've gone everywhere. Liam Cohen is making a great impression on Jacksonville. They won their game. We picked them to win.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield pulled one out late in the game there, but it was probably from his coaching from the year past. And now, Trevor Lawrence will profit from it. But yes, coaching goes a long way. O'Connell's got everything. He's got every tool in the kit. And I mean, he's making things happen. I mean, if Sam Darnold were there, it would have been just probably a blowout.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
I mean, but JJ is learning right from the very beginning. It's his second year. And the players, if they keep believing in him and he keeps playing, just got to be steady. Just got to keep improving. He's got a long ways to go, but who knows? I mean, they've got a defense and special teams. You got to have all three phases, and they have the other phases built in place. So we'll see what happens. The Packers have improved their team, Corey.
Yeah.
They beat the Lions, and you saw Micah Parsons. I mean, he's going to add a big role in this defense, sacking the quarterback. So I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, in that Parsons trade, they got rid of Kenny Clark, who's a great run stuffer, but Matt LaFleur came out and said today that they had two guys behind Kenny. That's why they were able to trade him. They had two young guys that they knew could stuff the run, and you're going to get Micah Parsons on one side. It's going to be hard to stop, and their offense can hang with the best of them with Love and Jacobs and
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs was playing good. I mean, I'm telling you, Jordan Love is the most comfortable quarterback out there. So, I mean, we got so much to talk about, Corey. It's been a great show. We still got to remind all our viewers all the things that we've got going on here. And, please email us onpoint@crntalk.com. I had a chance to win this mini fridge. So we hope you all stay with us. HarmonyCheese.com is our sponsor. OnPointLive.net is our website. So please visit us, email us, and we'll hope to see you soon. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to On Point Live. Corey Marino and Vince Ferragamo here with you to finish up. And, Corey was a great first week in the NFL. It's 17 weeks long this year, and then we get into the playoffs. But, boy, there were some teams that were out there hungry to make a big difference in their first game. And, these two teams had some new acquisitions, the 49ers and the Seahawks. They've got, Sam Darnold went to Seattle up there with Cooper Kupp, and then the 49ers got Robert Saleh. their defensive coordinator. And I think it made a big difference in this game because, you know, the 49ers were able to pull that out 17-13, and they held the Seahawks pretty much in check most of the game.
And that's pretty good because, the Seahawks are in their second year of having McDonald from the Ravens defensive coordinator. He's now their head coach. So their defense is pretty stout, and I read that they were top 3 in pressures this week. And the 49ers, they were back healthy for this game, but did not end it that healthy. But
George Kittle got hit, I think. He injured his hamstring.
He got put on IR today, so he's out for 4 weeks.
Oh my goodness! Well, those hamstrings could be deadly. There was quite a few players, and I think what happens, you know, early in the season like this, if you don't train hard enough in preseason, then you know you're susceptible to pulling a muscle like that, especially a hamstring, which is a running muscle. I mean, it is a common occurrence if you're not in great shape. So,
unfortunately, that is some bad news. But some good news is that we did our picks last week for how the week was going to go, and I'll leave mine for last, best for last. But you and Jackie went 9-5 in your picks, and you beat out Mike. He went 8-6, and then I had one of my best ever. I went 13-1. So that one felt good.
You're on fire. You're on fire, boy.
The California lottery just happened. I felt like I should have put one in there.
You should have. What is it now? It's like
they just won, so I think
$5 billion or something.
It's like $1.8 billion or something crazy like that.
$1.8 billion. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I tell you, it was. You're on track there for those things because there was a lot of close games that should have went one way or the other. But you know, the Raiders came off victorious too with Pete.
That was my only loss.
That was over the Patriots. That's the only loss.
That was my only loss.
Well, it was my loss too. Anyway, Corey, it was great being on the show today, and you know, remind all our viewers to please continue to watch us as On Point Live. And what do we say, Corey?
Stay on point.